So please welcome Rob Rene to the show. Welcome, Rob.
Hey, how are you? I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited for you to be here too, all the way from Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, the hot heat of Dallas, Texas. I just moved here a couple of years ago from Oregon, and boy, this summer heat is amazing.
Right? I'm from the Pacific Northwest as well. I'm from Seattle, but
Ah,
um, I moved here in San Diego because of the weather, and I couldn't do the rain and the
yeah, it's
dreariness.
brutal up there, isn't it?
Yes,
Honestly, I mean, 9 months out of the year, it's like cloud covered and dreary. It's really,
right.
really yucky. What happened is kind of just a real quick funny story. Is that I lived in Portland for a really long time, and then I moved over the mountains to Bend, Oregon, and it was
Oh,
on the
okay.
other side of the Cascades, and it was great because the clouds would go hit the mountains and they wouldn't come over onto the other side. So
Oh,
we got
funny.
we got sun all the time. It was beautiful. But anyway,
Oh, nice.
the Lord has led me to Texas, so I'm excited to
Yes.
be here.
Oh, I love it. Well, here I get connected to you, and I always know there's a reason for when am connected to someone. So
Right.
I'm like, I wonder why Rob came into my life. So I get this box in the mail, and I have, you know, a few interviews set up, and I really, when it's time for you to come on, it's like I have a week before, and really start to do my work, right? My Rob
Right.
Renee research.
I love it.
So I got the box, and I was like, and I order so many supplements, and I'm always like, you know, Rich, my husband's like, oh my gosh, what now did you order? So
What?
I'm looking at it going, what did I order? And it's all like, it's something like when it says empowering wellness, I'm like, through faith and frequencies. I was like, okay, I'm sure I was attracted to it somewhere and ordered it. And then I realize it's from you.
Right.
And so I start to, go down and learn about it and see the patches, but then I start to learn about the background and what led you to this. And I know you are, a big believer in God, and I am too. I'm very spiritual, and believe in God and the higher
I love it.
power, and the knowing that when people in life realize, even in the darkest moments, are the moments that are taking you on the trajectory, I believe that is your plan. And when I read your story and hear you talk, I was like, yes. So explain to us why you got to this place, and then we will um, uncover the magic that you discovered in these patches, and what you are really trying to transform this medical or pharmaceutical world.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So yeah, thank you for that. I'm so excited that you were able to get them, and I'm excited to just tell my story, right? Because it's a really strange one in the respect that I grew up as an athlete, and I was a runner. It was one of the things I just happened upon running as something I really enjoyed and really excelled at. So when you're young, you're like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. I'll keep trying this. And one of the things, so kind of just health has been really important to me for a really long time. And then one of the things that really differentiated me in running is I read this book called Eat to Win. And that,
Yes.
that book was amazing because it was like, taught me that everything you put in your body is actually what fuels your body, right? And when you're a teenager, you don't care about stuff like that. It's like, hey, you eat the garbage, whatever you can. But then when I was getting really serious about running and became pretty good, and I was in high school, I'm like thinking about my future. I'm like, okay, I can, if I do this right, and then maybe I can get a scholarship, and that was kind of the big goal. And man, I read that book and I really transformed my running. I became such a better runner by fueling my body appropriately. I was training correctly from running perspective, but I think that Eat to Win book was just transformational because I learned early on how important what you put into your body, is actually what fuels your body and makes up who you are as an athlete. But anyway, kind of fast forward to I did really well and got a full ride running scholarship to a Division I school, and I was just excited. My whole goal in life at that point was to be a professional runner, and I just had made the U.S. junior team, which is like the 19 years and younger. I was the second best miler in the country. So I was doing really, really well. My coaches had me on this trajectory that, I thought I was going to the Olympics and the next Olympics. And then I was out on a training run in the winter and got hit by a truck. And not, people say, yeah, I felt like I got hit by a truck. I literally got hit
Wow.
by a truck. And it was crazy. It hit me and threw me 36 feet and I landed on my face. And
Oh,
so it was really brutal. I was unconscious, laying on the side of the road. And I had a bloody nose earlier in the run. And that bloody nose, instead of coming out, went it back in. And so it was clogging my throat. So I couldn't breathe. So I literally was laying there on the side of the road, unconscious and not breathing. And so it wasn't for my friend that was with me that knew I had that bloody nose. If he didn't unclog my throat, I would have passed away, because
right.
it took 12 minutes for the paramedics to get to us. So I know I after that whole process, and trying to make a comeback, etc., I just knew that God had me on this earth for a reason. Right there was a reason I didn't die on the road that day. So I've always known that. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, what is it? And I never really was that excited about trying to figure it out. But then I went into the corporate world and had a successful job in the corporate world. But then bam, I got hit by another truck. But this truck was a way different truck. This truck was the COVID truck, and lots of people are in the same boat as I am when they got hit by the COVID truck. And that it just changes your life. So COVID happened and the pandemic happened, and I lost my job, my sales job, because I couldn't travel because
Right.
of the restrictions. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do? And then I just started researching. At that point, I had time. So I'm like, for the first time in 25 years, I actually had time to not watch sports and not watch TV and not take care of my children and not work full time. It was just, that keeps you so busy doing
Right.
that whole thing. Is I sat back and started researching, like, okay, what is this COVID? And then just started peeling back the onion on all sorts of things related to health. And oh my gosh, it was so enlightening to see what's happening, but it's also very, very frustrating, because it really, really made me mad. You know how you go through those stages in when like a death, for example, and
Hmm.
people go through the recovery stages in steps, because it's really difficult when you have something really um, important in your life and all of a sudden it's gone. Right, you go through the grieving process, and I really felt that I went through a grieving process with my entire life, because I was just like, I was so mad at what I was learning about how, in my perception, I had been deceived a really large portion of my life
Hmm.
about how things were going, right? About our medical system. And so I started researching the details of our medical system. I'm like, man, in the early 1900s, it was in effect taken over. And all of the all natural health doctors are things that I really believed in, because that story back when I was running, how I knew how important, at least what I ate and nutrition was. So I was really into all natural health, and it was like uh, just really frustrating to see what happened to that. And the Rockefellers took over the medical system, and they took over the medical schools, and they really transformed a lot of the things about our medical system. And the bad thing about like all natural health doctors was the thing that was frustrating me, is there was about 50% back in the early 1900s, about 50% of our doctors were holistic doctors and all natural doctors who were teaching you how to use what God gave you and the minerals and things that came from the earth to help heal people.
Hmm.
And then have you heard of the term quack?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So quack is a very common term, but guess where that term came from?
Oh, where?
That term came from back in the early 1900s. They vilified all the chiropractors who were teaching natural health and all holistic medicine. They termed them quacks, and they in a very direct manner. And they ended up suing a lot of those doctors. They ended up doing lawfare against people that were practicing all natural health. because they didn't want that practiced. And so they ended up, canceling a ton of all natural health doctors. And the only way you could get a job if you were in the medical field back then was if you went to their medical school that was training their methodology, and their methodology was all based upon pharmaceutical medication. It was
Right.
all oil-based, petroleum-based medication. It wasn't natural health. And if you were teaching natural health, they would go after your practice, and you couldn't get it, or you couldn't get a job anywhere unless you went through their particular program. So anyway, I found all this stuff out about how censored our information is, and how our medical system has been compromised. And I love our doctors and nurses and people in the health, because they really have a heart to help people, right? They
Right.
really do. But I think that they've been deceived, and they don't know they're being deceived. But if you
Right.
go back and do this research like I did, it just really, really frustrated me. So, I'm like, what can I do as just me, little Rob? What can I do to help people? And I started researching. I'm like, maybe I'll craft supplements that can help people, and I'll try to get natural supplements in people's hands to help them through the problems that were going on in the world. And man, the Lord led me from one person to the next, to this gentleman that said, "Hey, have you heard of quantum energy before?" And I was like, "Quantum what?" I hadn't
Mhm.
heard. I've heard of the word quantum, but I didn't know what he was talking about with quantum energy. And oh man, it was so much fun when I started learning about quantum energy and frequencies. So he's like, "Here, try this, skin patch." And I'm like, "This little sticker is going to do something?" And he's like, "Yes, you put it on your body, and then let me know what happens." And really interestingly enough, it started reducing my pain. And then he started telling me these stories of people after people after people who these products were helping. And I was just mesmerized, because I'm like, okay, this is incredible, because one, it's not putting anything inside your body. You don't have to take a pill. You don't have
Right.
to take a lotion or a potion, or, it's literally a frequency that gets put on these skin patches that connect to the energy system in your body. So then I started doing all this research about the human body. I'm like, how does this work? Right? This
Mhm.
is really incredible, because we got story after story of people it was helping. So I'm like, how is this helping? How does that do that? And I learned more details about how our body is made up. Right? Our body is made up of energy, and I
Right.
didn't know that. I just thought our body was our body and our skin was our skin. But then you start doing your research, and you find out the minutia of our body, and all the way down to the cellular level. Our body is made up of energy, and it interacts with itself and other things around it with frequencies. So
Right.
frequencies are really important, part of it. And frequencies initially scared me, just because I'm like, what is a frequency? Right? That sounds really strange. And what is this quantum thing? But go lo and behold, it's so simple. Frequencies are everywhere. Right? You use this little thing, that you talk on the phone every day. Guess what it's using to communicate? It
Right.
is
Frequencies.
frequencies. Yeah,
Right.
right.
Right. So before you go on, I need to
Yeah,
understand this. So
yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing your research,
yeah.
you're understanding, you met somebody that had already started the patches?
Yeah, so this gentleman had been doing this research for 30 some years.
Oh, okay.
He'd been working on it for forever, and had been trying it, but he's not a marketing person, so he didn't know how to get it out to the world. And so he knew a friend of mine who introduced me to him, and as he showed me these products, I'm like, this is something that has to get out. How come you haven't shared this with these? Like, I have, but the people are don't understand it, right? So
Right.
when people don't understand something, they don't buy it,
Right.
and that's fine. I'm like, okay, well, let's go research how this is working, and then we can explain it to people in a simple way. And then when people start understanding that it's not strange at all, it's very common, and it works with the way God made us. God made us in this wonderful way and gave us an amazing immune system, gave us an amazing body, and it does interact with external things. And so as I started to understand it, I'm like, I can take what you have developed and help the world. And
Right.
I can help people get off of big pharma drugs because, it's just, we've had lots and lots of problems with big pharma medications in my family and the people we know around us. Two of my brother's, best friends, of his best man at his wedding ended up committing suicide just
Mm,
because of opioid addiction, right? So
right.
opioids and other drugs like that are just such a problem in our society. And no one's trying. I mean, some people are trying to fix it, but lo and behold, guess who owns the money, right? The people with all the money, who are making all the money off of the opioids, are just, they're making sure that it doesn't get stopped. So, the opioid epidemic just in and of itself could be resolved in the United States of America if, we had a dedicated focus on trying to solve that problem. But the pharmaceutical industry is so strong and so powerful that it's not stopped yet, right? There's still people. The opioid problem is still very, very prevalent in our world today.
Right.
And so that's what, my heart was, is like, okay, how do we help people? How do we
Right.
help people get off of these big pharma drugs? And how do we do something that can help impact the world for good rather than for bad? So that's kind of
Right.
my mission.
So explain to me the quantum energy. I mean, we hear that word so much now. That's like one of the common buzzwords in
Right.
my world anyway, or people that are listening to this: quantum physics, quantum energy. So explain that part and why. So understanding it now that I see the patches, and I understand that you're putting the frequency in the patch, and explain the frequency versus the quantum energy. Like, how
Yeah,
does
so
that
that's really,
relate?
really the way that it communicates, right? So if you think about a really simple term for quantum is the study of small, right? So it's really just teeny. So you get down to the cellular level of things, and when you can start talking about the quantum communications and things like that. And that can get really complicated. So I try to explain it in a really simple way. And that what we do is we put a crystalline structure on these patches that's basically holds information. So it's kind of like a computer chip
Okay.
holds information, like the hard drive of your computer holds information. That's what we put on top of these patches, is this structure. And then we program those patches with information. And that information is a frequency and intentions. And we even encode Bible verses onto the actual information on the patch. So it includes a specific frequency for the problem and intentions for the problem. And that was another fascinating thing that we can chat about is the power of intentions.
Oh, I'm
Because
all about that.
yeah, I
I
love
love the
that.
power. I teach powers of intentions, how
That's
important.
fantastic. Yes, I've
But
read.
yes, but when I'm reading these brochures and understanding this and the Bible verses, and, you know, the power of words, the power of thought, the power of prayer, the power of intention, all these things.
Yep.
And I'm picturing this little sticker, this little patch. Um, you're feeding it this, you have an intent, like that's a thing. Like I need to get a bigger view. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
watching you. How are you encoding this crystalline um substance or with sticker with that?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, and some of it is proprietary, right? But
Right.
I'll explain it to you. We literally have a machine that takes the information that we code into the machine, and all of these things, like your intentions and other things, have a signature. So we can take that signature and put it into ones and zeros, basically electronic code, and those codes get put on to the crystalline structure that's on the patch. So we're programming these ones and zeros and information that's on the patch that contains the signature that is the frequency, that is the intention, that are the words in the verses. And so that information is contained in that structure. And then what's fun and what's interesting is when you apply the patch to your body, it within 5 seconds, it connects to your energy system. And that's where the magic comes, is the actual patch, the frequency on the patch connects to your body's energy. And
Right.
so the information that we programmed in that patch, then it starts working. And it doesn't like all of a sudden just a magic, I'm all better. It starts working with your body. And so we've got some studies we've done with EEG technology, where
Uh-huh.
you put the brain hat on, and
Right.
it measures your brain waves. And then what we've shown is after 5 seconds, you'll see, like, for example, someone's in pain, you look at their brain waves. Someone's in pain and they put the EEG hat on, and their brain waves are going like this because
Mhm.
their body's in stress, right? And
Right.
the pain is just basically a stress between your body saying something is wrong, and it's going from wherever the pain is to your brain saying, hey, something's wrong. And then you're like, ow, this hurts. And then what our patch does when you put it on, it takes that signal and interrupts it basically. So then all of a sudden your brain waves start smoothing out, because all of a sudden your brain's not dealing with that problem
Hmm.
anymore. So these frequencies help with that. So it's really, really fascinating. I'll show you just an example of, I've got one of our immune boost patches, but this is how small they are. It's just like a
Right.
nickel.
I
And
know.
I put it on the back of my neck just because it's out of the way underneath my collar. And within 5 seconds, that's going to connect. The energy on that is going to connect to the energy system in my body and start to work. And it's just fascinating, stuff that if 2 years ago, before I did all this research and understanding on this, I would have thought you were, crazy. And lots of people call it woo woo or whatever. But what I've come to find out is it's not, right. It really is. And people that understand the power of intentions and the power of positive even thoughts and manifestation, which you're a big fan of, right, and help a lot of people with. So God bless you for your life's
Mhm.
work and what you're doing to help people. I love it. But anyway, once you start understanding that, then you can see how these intentions have an actual physical impact on an external item. And that was, like Dr. Emoto. I'm sure you've heard of Dr.
Oh,
Emoto's,
yes.
in his studies and stuff. That's where I was just like blown away. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. How can prayer and intentions have such a physical impact on the crystal structure of water? Right.
Right.
It's just like
Right.
so cool.
Yeah, I had a girl, a 12-year-old yesterday client, because I work with a lot of kids.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, and I was explaining the power of intention. That's part of their morning routine that they do
I
on
love
week.
it.
She's on week one,
Okay.
and the power of your words and your thoughts. And I show her a video of him, of Dr. Emoto, the
That's
how
so,
the words change the crystalline of the water,
yeah,
and how powerful, because I have them write out all the negative words that we say, what, 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, think, and most of them are negative. So
that's right.
what are you saying to yourself and creating? And so she wrote a list of 10 things that she says negatively about herself. And so when I showed her the example, and there was also another, that rice experiment where you put love, hate, and ignore, and you watch for like 9 weeks, and you say loving things to it, hateful things, and then you just don't even say anything to the third jar, and how it gets all moldy in the hate. The love doesn't even turn moldy. It's just the same in 9 weeks. And then the
That is like
ignore was
literally
like,
my favorite. I mean, it's just like, because it's so visual, right? You can
oh, it's
literally
so visual.
see. And then I love it because not only he did that in his little environment, but hundreds of people or more have replicated that same experiment.
Right.
They've all got the same results. So it's just like it's so
Yeah, it's
powerful
not
because
woo woo. It's
yeah,
like
that's
it's
it's
like I'm
not.
showing no, and so when I'm learning about this quantum energy and the healing and the frequencies, and I'm always about mind over matter. And in this house we don't even say when we don't feel well. We talk about our wellness versus our sickness, and I've
Ah,
just trained the
that's so
girls
awesome. I love it.
their whole life, like, we don't talk about how sick we are. We talk about the well part of it.
Good for
And
you.
I'm really that's a really important thing. Like in this house, we've cultivated this muscle in our family that is very, we catch each other. If what are you saying? What'd you just say? And I always say,
You
you
can't
know,
say
it's like,
that.
I know, cancel that, right? Like, I don't know if you, but anyway, so I always like say cancel that. And so I'm understanding like when they I mean, there's like 14 different things that you're even helping. So that let's go there because I mean, I
Yep.
have allergy, there's weight loss, there's menopause. I mean, I'm 54. I have friends now that are like, no one ever told me about menopause. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to ship these things to all these friends.
Right,
But
right.
but you keep coming up with these new solutions. I mean, just weight loss alone industry is
Yeah.
like, so
It's ginormous, right? And it's
yeah.
just what we've been able to do is that on the weight loss one specifically, and I lost 20 pounds earlier this year just by using the product. And it just the patch helps you reduce your appetite. And then
Huh,
if you do a keto diet, which is one of the things that we help people with in addition to just the patches, is it helps you get to ketosis faster. And
huh,
so it literally is communicating, the intentions are you're not hungry, right? You are full in your body. You use the patch and it's like you don't feel, you don't feel, maybe either don't eat as much and or you don't snack as much because you're not feeling as hungry. So it's been an awesome product. It's probably our second best selling product is the weight loss one, just because it is, unfortunately in our country it's a problem too, right? Our
right.
obesity levels, or I don't even like to call it that, I hate that word, but just people that are putting on a few extra pounds that they don't want. And then because our lives are so sedentary compared to what how God made us. God made us to be walking around and doing things and making things. And geez, we sit down at our desk and spend 8 hours just sitting there and not moving much other than our fingers, and that
Right.
becomes an issue. So people need to get up and move around, and then we help with these patches that from that perspective. So what we do to kind of answer, I think where you were going, you didn't ask this question specifically, but I think where you're going is how do
Mhm.
we change the patches, right? How do you have a patch that's weight loss, and how do you have a patch that's for
Right.
pain relief? How do you have one that's for allergy? And we do it in a number of different ways, but obviously the actual frequency itself is different, and the intentions of those frequencies are all that are on the patches are all different, right? So the intentions are very specific, and we program very specific for the problem. The allergy one has been unbelievable response we've gotten to that product, because people, for example, one of the gentlemen that is a great customer of ours. He's been on Claritin D for 10 years, every
Mm.
single day. He
Wow.
started using our product, and he's now off of Claritin D, and he's so excited. He literally puts a patch on his elbow, and he knows that it's there. So he's like, okay, good, I'm good for the day, and hasn't had to use the Claritin product ever since then. It's just amazing. We have a pastor that is a friend of ours. His name's Dave Scarlett of His Glory, which is a
Mhm.
really neat ministry, and he's got an awesome following. They've got millions of people that follow him across the globe. But he has a big field out behind his home where he needs to use a tractor to cut the grass, right? And he has allergies, so we sent him some product and he'd forgotten that he had it. So he went out and did the grass and came back, and his eyes were all watery and swollen. And he's like, dang it. So he went and got the product and put it on after the fact, and it did alleviate a lot of the symptoms. They ended up going away. But he's like, next time, so that literally the next time he went out on the tractor, he's like, he put the patch on before he went out, and he went out and cut the grass. He came back and no problems whatsoever. He's like,
Huh.
wow, this is
Oh,
crazy.
cool.
It works so well.
Oh, that's
So it's
amazing.
really exciting.
And it is along with the patch, they say they do a Bible verse, even though
Yeah. So
so you say
that
that every day, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. you have a
That's
different
the
verse.
important part, because we believe in the multi-sensory solution, right? That it's not just the patch, but we want you to actually say the intentions out loud, right? It's like you're saying the young woman that you were talking to this morning, who was on her week one, right? She needs to say things, use her mouth to say them. And then when you
Right.
say it out loud and you're reading it, you're using your eyes to read it, you're using your mouth to say it, and then your ears to hear yourself say it. So we literally include a intention guide with every single product. Either we have this guide that's Monday through Sunday, or we include one that has all 40 Bible verses that are in it. And what we want you to do is just say it out loud. You read this out loud every day, and you're talking, you're communicating, with the Lord, and you're saying it out loud, and you're reading it, and you're believing in that. And we
Right.
believe the combination of those positive intentions, in addition to the product itself, the effectiveness of our product is skyrocketing because of people's combination of what we call the multi-sensory solution, right? You're using multiple senses to help you with your health issues, and it's just working phenomenally. So it's really exciting to see the stories we get back from people. It's just like, wow, it's so much fun to
Oh,
help
I
people.
bet.
Just super,
Yeah.
super satisfying.
Were you the one that added the Bible verses to the patch when you met the man?
Yeah, so we'd like, how can we bring this multi-sensory solution into play, right? And so the people that actually manufacture these are very God-fearing people. In fact, the one of the folks has probably distributed more Bibles across the globe than anybody that I've ever met. He's literally distributed millions of Bibles across the world. So they have a great heart and great faith to help people. And they were so excited to work with me because I said, I literally, after going through all this research and working with people and helping people and having them come back to me and say, yes, this is really working, this is amazing, that then I said, okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to really invest a lot of time, effort, and money to making this a real solution that we can distribute to the world. And that's where we came up with the multi-sensory solution. Is let's combine everything that we can do as a human to help ourselves, right? And so there's multi-sensory. So as I was reading the Bible, and as I'm reading, it's like, it's like you need to be able to help people in the way that I built them. And so that this multi-sensory solution just came through these discussions. My brother is a partner of mine, a very good godly man, and he's a minister, online minister, and he helps a lot of people. So he actually comes up with the prayer guide, and so
Oh,
he creates that Monday through Sunday thing for each product, and we take the intentions of the solution and we go research the right Bible verses that are related, right? Like our anti-anxiety, product has some amazing, Bible verses, a lot of anxiety related, verses in the Bible. So we make sure that those are in there. And so people are saying these just to help, right? And if the patch helps people and they don't say the prayers and they don't do the multi-sensory thing, that's fine, right? It's still going to work and
right.
it's still helping tons of people. But I just think it's going to be that much more effective, right?
Right.
If
Oh,
you
totally.
believe it,
I
it's going
agree
to
in that.
work,
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
you say it's going to work, and you say
Right,
the positive intentions, you're just helping yourself. So
right.
that's what we ended up
So
doing.
going to the, let's see, for an example, you lost 20 pounds
Yeah.
and you kept that patch on for like if people are listening to this right now and they're like, oh, finally something natural that's not, you know, and going to help me with weight loss. Are you putting the patch on for forever? I mean, is it where your body's like now it's adjusted and trained, like you've trained yourself how to eat less, or how does that work?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I don't scientifically know the answer to that question, but what I do know is that your body does adjust, right? And so, since it's in a positive state, like I mentioned with those brain waves, I think that's a really important fact. When your brain is active, when it has a problem, like let's just do the pain one for example, your brain's going crazy, right? And then when you put it in a better state where it's not feeling that interaction and that problem, your body is in a better state to heal itself, right? So God gave us this amazing body that does heal itself. So I like to say it that we're putting your body in a better state to where, God can naturally do things better for you. Does that
Right.
make sense? So
Right.
I obviously, for medical or for compliance reasons, I can't say our product's going to heal you, right?
Right.
But what I can do is just say that it's going to put your body in a better state that then has better likelihood of it getting healed because your body's in a better state to be healed.
Right. What do you see? Like, give me, I think 2020, when I talked to, so many people and myself included, 2020 was a year of pivoting, right? We all had to figure something out. I started a podcast, and I didn't know why. And then I'm at 2 weeks, I have two children. They were 5th grade and 8th grade, and they say, we're going to take 2 weeks off of school. Right. And, little did we know it was a little longer than 2 weeks.
Yes,
But,
yes.
I look at,
2 weeks to
now,
stop the spread, right? Isn't that what
oh
the
yeah. But when you look at, where we're going, and, I talk a lot on this podcast about, you know, ascending to, we all chose to, we're all here to help the world, help our planet, learn how to heal, within and with our minds, and the energy, and understanding that. And we're all that this conversation, if it was, 10 years ago, would have been, it wouldn't have caught on. But
right,
now I
right.
know, even having you, I'm listening to you as I'm listening as a listener, thinking, oh, people are going to really be interested in this. Like, people are now understanding that it is energy, and we are all energy. Like, that's all we are, is energy.
That's right.
And
That's right.
instead of band-aiding and, using these drugs to, and now to understand that we have everything within us. And
Well, God gave us an amazing body, right? He designed us perfectly, and
Right.
it's designed to help heal itself. And of course, I like to look at it. I don't like to look at it. I just think this is what's happening. I think it is the Great Awakening, like you mentioned. People are starting to understand now, whereas just a few years ago they wouldn't have even been interested in this type of conversation. But this pandemic has really caused people to second guess a lot of things, right? You saw how bad our information was censored, and how all natural healing solutions were just vilified, right? It's like they just attacked anybody who said something different than what was the agenda. And when you start realizing that, you're like, okay, there's something wrong, right? We're being fed this line of information that may not be true. So you start realizing that, and then you start peeling out over the onion a little bit, and
Right.
you start realizing how bad our media is. And those are the things, when I mentioned that I was going through, the grieving stages,
Mhm.
is I woke up to Mockingbird media, right? Which where our media just is controlled. And it really frustrated me, because I'm like, gosh, we're the most open society in the world. North Korea, those are the people who have propaganda sent at them all the time. And oh my gosh, when I realized how bad the United States of America is being censored, and our information has been literally controlled, you have to really dig in to research and find things. But I see millions of people like me that are doing the same thing, where they've
Mhm.
got frustrated with what's going on, and they started researching for themselves. So think for yourself. If something is too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. If it's something, you don't doesn't feel right, go research it. Go research 10 different things, and 2 of them are going to be one way and 2 of them are going to be totally the opposite. And then you start finding the things in the middle, and then you make the decision, right, of what's right. So the whole thing with jabs and things like that, it's like, I want people just to go research the things themselves. Don't take the party line anymore, because the party line is really controlled propaganda that's being sent at you via via music, via sports, via the news, via the movies that you watch, via the newspaper that you read, via the social media and the influencers that you follow. All that information is literally being controlled. So you have to take that all away, right? And do your own research. And man, it's amazing what you find.
Right.
You start waking up to some of these issues. You're like, ooh, I didn't think that's possible in the United States of America. But yes, that's why I call it the Great Awakening. Is there's millions of people like me that are pulling that layer open and really understanding that the world is not what it seems, even in the United States of America, and
Right.
that's a really a good versus evil fight. There's really good people like you. I loved what you said a few minutes ago, where we're all here to help each other and to be together and to think positive thoughts and just be together and help people, right? But there's literally an evil agenda on the other side of this that is spiritual, that is really negative and wants just the opposite. They want to destroy you. And I didn't think that was really a thing a few years ago, but now you can literally clearly see this good versus evil fight that's going on in the world. It's not right versus left. It's literally good versus evil.
Right. And I always believe, one person, you can make a difference in millions of people by just your energy. And I'm speaking of
Right.
energy, right? And how powerful we are in that. I mean, how we are powerful souls and spirits in this body that are here to do that. And when you realize that and you don't focus on the negative or the dark or the evil or whatever,
Yeah.
and you focus on the love and the connection and the oneness, and see people as you, and know that we are all here on this earth to love and connect. And you know so I really view it, and that's why I was wondering, like, for you, like, I see, so my daughters are teenagers, and they went through most of their childhood. I mean, I would say from, in 2020, that's probably the middle of their childhood till they leave the house is going to be affected by this pandemic.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
it's kind of like when we were at, when the 9/11, when that happened, like that,
Yeah.
that was like our, whoa, everything, the airports are different, everything. I mean,
Everything changed. Yep.
yeah. So
Yep.
there's these times in our lives that we have these wake ups where you either wake up and you shift and you start to see the light. If it takes that to see the light, great. If it doesn't and you already see the light, but I see the children, because I work with so many. Um, they're they're fogged with everything, because
Yeah.
they haven't been able, that's all they know is social media, all
Yeah.
this, this whatever's going on, the pan, all the masks covering, and I see them, they know better. Their souls are so much stronger and higher vibration than we are. And they
Right.
come into this world at a higher vibration, and I can see it in their eyes. And then once we peel those layers of understanding that, you are powerful, you can say the right thing. And so I see that. And so where I get my passion is when I get with these kids and I finally they can see they're not, um, they don't have the blinders on, and they take the blinders off and they see the light. And I see the world going there. But when I teach them to focus, like I teach my girls, like, focus on the good.
Right.
Whatever you focus on grows, right? So I don't watch the news, I don't read the news, I do go down some rabbit holes on some things that I, like, you probably, like, I didn't even look at that 5 years ago. I didn't know. I kind of lived in a fog. I just, I was raising children, but that was my focus. So I was in the deep, the depth of babies and everything. But
Yeah.
now it's like, oh my gosh, Ashley, you didn't know any, like, all this stuff. But it was, it like cracked open the egg, it cracked open the shell. And I think now that it's done that, it's so invigorating to me to know, like, oh, it's all good coming. Like, it had to open,
That's
it
right.
had to. And I know
Yeah.
that's why that happened. I mean, I look, at a plan, like the highest version of God's plan. And it's all perfect because it was
It
supposed to
is.
be there.
Yeah,
And
and you look, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about all of this is at the end of the day, we know who wins, right?
right,
Good is going to win. And then, but we have to go through a lot of different difficulties and everybody has to do that, right? So I think it's just important, like you said, is focus on the good. Be a good person and do the best you can, but also, start when instead of intaking all this negative information, start being projecting the light and be the light for other people, and then do your research and understand that there are things that people are trying to tell you that are not accurate, they're not right. And if it bothers you, just do a little research, do your own research. But always, that can get really frustrating because you start finding out things that really make you mad. But then
right,
you always have to remember, go back to the source, right? That God has a plan. And it was his plan for me. Like I mentioned, my accident early on when I should have died, is that he had me on this earth for a reason. And I think it's for a time such as now, where I
oh,
can
for
actually go
sure,
out and do this. I can talk about my faith. I can talk about how good God is and how there is an evil plan to hurt a lot of people in this world. And we can be better, right? We can do good things, right? We can get people off of these big pharma drugs. The average senior is on 14 different prescription medications
mm,
today. And it's just
right,
so sad, right? You see that, and it's just like, because they prescribe a pill for your ill. And then that doctor is specialized. And like I said, I'm always going to say positive things about nurses and doctors because they have a heart to help people, but they're so specialized on their problem. They can help you with that problem. But unfortunately, when you watch a commercial nowadays on a medication, they spend 10 minutes telling you about all the side effects of those. So you take that one pill and then it has these side effects that, oh, geez, maybe a month down the line, now something else is happening to you. So then you go to a doctor for that thing. And then,
right.
now you're on 2 medications. Then it just snowballs to the time that you're a senior, you're on 14 different darn medications. And it's a sad thing that needs to change, right? We need to get back to putting the right things into our body, like I learned when I was young, and start eating healthy and start exercising, start moving, and start seeing the light and the positiveness, and be the light to other people. And God is going to bless you through that process. And you're going to bless a lot of other people through that process. And that's what I'm really, trying to focus on, is how can I help people? How can I help people get off of big pharma drugs? How can I help them understand that this is a good versus evil fight, and focus on the good, right? Focus on, don't be fearful, because fear can take you down some really, really bad rabbit holes, of anxiety and other things. That's what we have, an amazing anti-anxiety product, right? That really puts in positive thoughts and positive intentions. And it's really an awesome product that helps people who are in a dark place. We can get them out of that dark place and focus on the good.
Right. And so the patches last a couple days. You get a few, you get a box of them. So
Yeah,
you,
we sell a box of 14 patches that basically will last a month on average, because some people that last a couple of days, some they can extend it out to 3 or 4 days. But some people like myself, they only last about a day, because I'm very active. I sweat a lot, and I take a shower every day. So I can occasionally get mine to last a couple of days. But some people it can last 3 or 4 days. So we just say it takes 1 or 2, and then we're even investigating putting some little clear patches that people can use to take it on and off, that will make it last a little bit longer. So
okay.
we're always trying to improve the product. But yeah, they last on typically about 2 days.
And does it glow? So when it goes in, it's the energy super strong at the start, and then it just,
It's just as it'll stay just as strong as long as the actual ink on the ink on top of the patch is what's holding that crystalline structure onto the patch. So as soon as that goes away, then the information is gone, if
okay.
that makes sense. So that's when you know.
Okay. So you can put, I was listening to something where someone could put a Band-Aid on if they take a shower, like they're,
Right.
um,
Right. Yep. And that's what we recommend. Like if you want to protect it, like my brother takes a shower and he puts it on his chest here, and he puts a Band-Aid over the top of it, and just, takes a shower and dries off, and then the patch just, stays there. And that's why I mentioned we're looking to throw in a couple of clear bandages that you can just stick it on. But you can do the same thing with any Band-Aid or medical tape that you have in your home. You can use that same thing to elongate the time that the patches last. If that makes
Right.
sense.
Yes. What is your intention as we come to the end here? What is your intention? Like, what
Yeah,
is
my intention is to be the light of the world, to help people, come to Christ, and to get off of these big pharma drugs, right? I just have a heart for all these seniors who are going through the end of their life in a really medicated state. So I want them to get off of big pharma drugs, and I want them to be healthy naturally and have their body work the way God intended. So that's my big intention.
Yeah, I love it. And tell everybody how they find you,
Yeah, well,
website.
one important thing is if you go to QE Strong, so QE for quantum energy, QEstrong.com, and use the coupon code MAGIC. And that way we can bless your podcast, and then we're be good partners, and then we're going to also give your listeners a 15% discount. So anybody that
Oh,
uses
perfect.
the coupon code MAGIC, they'll get that 15% discount on their order, and then we can bless your podcast as well as it helps us. But most importantly, it's going to help the people that are using the products. And we're coming out with some really interesting products. One is a insect repellent. I don't know
Oh,
if you've heard about what Bill Gates is doing with the mosquitoes, and what they're doing, how much the billions of mosquitoes that they're manufacturing across the world. But they're doing some nefarious things. I'll just say that with mosquitoes, to where I don't want to get bit by mosquitoes. So one of our new products is called Bug Be Gone. And
oh, wow.
that product is you put the skin patch on, and it repels insects from biting you. So I think that's going to be an important one coming down the road.
Yeah. How do you come up with the new, just whatever's like comes to you, like what's coming on in the world or what?
Yeah, it really is like listening to the Lord. Like, what do you want us to do? And what is happening in the world? And then how can we help? Right. So if there's something that happens and we can figure out a way to create a solution, we're always going to try. And there's certain things that we have tried, and it just doesn't, we can't get it to work, right? God's not giving us the right information, or he's not giving us the right information. We're just not understanding, right?
Right.
In a way to actually create the product that's going to help people. So we'll create it and we'll try it, and if it's not helping, then obviously we're not going to try to sell it. We want to make sure that these products help people, and we'll do everything we can to make them be a positive impact for you. And this Bug Be Gone is amazing. We live in Dallas. We have a creek behind our house,
Oh,
and
wow.
the lots of mosquitoes and bugs in our area. My wife gets eaten up pretty bad with mosquitoes. I thought I used to get bitten quite a bit. She gets about 4 times many of mosquito bites as I do. And ever since we've been using this product, it's been about a month we've been in testing now. Every time she uses the product, she does not get bit. And
Wow. Oh,
a couple of times
wow.
she's
That's
gone on a
amazing.
run without it,
Huh.
and she's gotten bitten. She's like, she feels the the little bite, and she's like, what the heck? And then she looks and she's like, oh, I forgot I forgot the product.
Oh,
So
cool. Wow. Amazing.
it's just crazy. So we're trying to have a positive impact on the world, and we want to teach people that frequencies aren't strange and energy isn't strange. I mean, you think about your radios, you're going down the road, or you're listening to this amazing podcast. How are you listening to this podcast? More than likely it's coming through a frequency to your device, and then that device is getting translated into sound waves that are going into your ears. So frequencies aren't strange, energy isn't strange. We're just harnessing those amazing things and putting positive impact into the skin patches to help people
Right.
in a holistic way.
Right. Oh, so fun, Rob. I've loved learning about you and all the things that what you're here to do, and you're living your purpose for sure. And when I get to meet people like you that are really like your intention is to help, and open people's eyes, and you know retrain our thinking that we do have everything that we need to be healthy. Our bodies are perfect,
Yeah,
and that
God
we
God made us wonderfully, right? He really
right,
did. And
right,
he designed this amazing, incredible body, and we just need to help feed it what it needs, right? It needs the nutrients that come from this earth. And so if we, grounding is one of the things I love to teach. Grounding I thought was crazy. My wife used to tell me that you need to take your socks and shoes off and go stand on the dirt. And I'm like, why would you do that? And then I started learning about energy and how grounding is so important to our bodies. So go, make sure you go research
oh,
grounding.
I'm all about grounding, Rob. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I always, that's part of the morning routine that I teach. You got to take your shoes off, go out and stand on the dirt or the grass, and or look, just be, you can even touch a tree if you
yeah.
don't have.
God bless you. God
Yeah,
bless you. It's so amazing. I'm so glad you're doing that because it's like those are the things that you just don't hear, right? No one's going to teach you that. At least,
right,
and you and I need to just get that information out there. And it's not scary. It's not strange. It's not weird. And your body needs it. So go
right,
feed your body what it needs.
right. Oh, anyway, loved it. Thank you. So great to meet you.
Yeah.
So
God
everybody
bless you.
order these patches, QEstrong.com, and use the code magic, and just look up all the things that you could. I mean, they almost cover the 14 things right now that besides the bug be gone, are things that there's something for everyone. I
That's
could
right.
probably put 5 of them on my body.
That is important. You literally can do more than one at a time. So don't don't
Okay.
don't be afraid of that.
Okay. Thank you, Rob, so
Yeah.
much. It was so
God
nice to
bless you
meet
very
you.
much.
Oh, thank
Pleasure
you.
meeting you.
Nice to meet you.